I'd like to introduce Anake Malani. I was very happy when I was asked to do this. I had never met Anake Malani until tonight, but my Olelo Hawaii Kumu had talked to me about her, and so did Iliana. And it seems like looking at her resume, I'm like, wow, I have so much in common. She's a Kamehameha School graduate, though. I'm a Waianae High School graduate. But she then went to LCC, so did I. Later, she transferred to UH Hilo and got a bachelor's in Hawaiian Studies with a minor in Hawaiian language. I graduated from University of Manoa with Hawaiian Studies. And she's doing great things in education, something that I would definitely like to aspire to. She currently lives on the Big Island of Hawaii. She worked in the Department of Education for 2 Christian schools there, and currently she's the West Hawaii Education Manager for Hawaii Island. So it is with great pleasure that I introduce Malani Diaguar.
Isn't Ka'ehukai awesome? Please, let's give her a hand. She's phenomenal. It makes me really proud to see people like Ka'ehukai go back and get their degrees and so passionate about education. Thank you to her grandma, because I taught my daughter, I think that was her 4th word, was mama, dada, bird, and then college. And my husband said, what you doing? I said, never mind. So my topic tonight, very similar to Ka'ehukai as well. And I also have a lot of Olelo No'eau. You see the kids nowadays, nice ya how they make theirs. Sorry, mine plain ke. Kalamaya'u. It's just white. So my topic is Kulia Ika Nu'u, strive to reach the summit. Cute, yeah, that's me. So this is me I was 1 year old, and my full name is Lila Kehamalani Papa, and I married a Diagare. My Olelo No'eau, he lei poina ole ke keiki. A lei never forgotten is a beloved child. My niece, my sister Kavena's daughter, just started teaching at Waianae High School, and I had the pleasure today of being able to go there and speak to 3 classes. One of them is here. Shane, raise your hand, sweetie. He was in the audience today. When I brought this Olelo No'eau up, I told each and every one of them, I said, don't you forget, each one of you are a beloved child. You are beloved. I don't care what your circumstances are, you need to remember how special you are. So the kids, they're like, yeah, whatever, auntie. So I am the middle child of 5 children. So here's my mom. So mom and dad, can you stand? Is that too hard? Okay. So this is my mom and dad. 86 and 84. They're in their 80s, yeah, mom. 80. You're in your yeah. Just nod, mommy. So I'm the middle child. This is my eldest brother, and my sister Kavena's right here. Kavena lives in Nanakuli, and then my younger siblings. I was raised in Nanakuli, and I'm very proud of it. And I told the students today in Waianae, you know what? I was raised here, and I think this area, the west coast of this island, is the best place ever. And don't you forget that. Oh, then they started sitting up straight in the chair, yeah? So my beliefs are, there's a reason for everything that happens, no matter what it is. There's a silver lining behind every cloud. So I told the students, I know some of you get plenty clouds, yeah, in your life, plenty. But there's a reason why you're going through this right now, and there is a silver lining. And from Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord, plans to prosper you and not harm you, plans to give you hope in a future. I got harmed, and I'm going to explain that in a little bit. Not from my mom and dad. Yeah, you folks are very good to me. Ko'opapa, my dad. My dad's name is Richard Kili'ipuni Kailani Kiala Vaihinano Vaheneopuna Papa, the chief who is fond of traveling amongst the fragrance of the hala blossoms of the woman of Puna, who is Pele. My dad is from Waiohinu Ka'u. My dad's name came to my great-great-grandmother, Tutu Keli'ihue Alakaihu Kamali. He received an Inoa Po. So this means that my tutu got his name 5 consecutive nights in a dream. Very, very special. This is my tutu, Tutu Keli'ihue. If you look at her, well, my sister's gonna kill me, but if you look at her hand and you look at my sister's hands, ualike no alike, very similar. Kavena's just stuck her hands underneath the table. But you look at my tutu, she was about 6 feet tall, yeah? Yeah, she was a tall woman. Look at her eyes. My tutu was a kahuna la'au lapa'au at Waiohinu Ka'u. She was a great-grandmother of my dad. She taught my dad many of the remedies in Ka'u, and she healed many people. Ko'umama, my mother, her name is Carol Leilani Lake Papa. She's from Kunawai Lane in Liliha. I told the kids, you know Liliha Bakery? Okay, across the street in the back of Pizza Hut, there's a big area, yeah? That's where my mom was from. There were a lot of lo'i kalo in those days. So of course, one student said, oh, your mom was born in the lo'i kalo? No, baby, aole. Next to the lo'i kalo, in the hale. So my mom's father is John K. Lake, and my grandmother is Mary Alan Akana Lake. I often wondered why I was pulled strongly to Hawaii Island. My grandpa was from Kalawa, and my grandma was from Pahala. What am I going to share with you this evening? I'm going to share with you Olelo no Eau, like Kaehukai, and some of them Uolike no Olike too. My goals, my challenges and obstacles, my celebrations, and my heroes. Education is so important. My dad graduated from Iolani. How's that? Come from Waiohinu, go Iolani. Cool, yeah? My mom graduated from Sacred Hearts. My dad and mom sacrificed everything to make sure the 5 of us went to private schools. So I was raised in Nanakuli. My mom had an older sister and she had 2 sons. She miscarried a daughter. So she asked if she could raise me. And my older sister, Kavena, very Hawaiian, was being raised by my mom's parents in Nanakuli. They lived on Keolana Avenue. We lived on Pohakunui Avenue. So Hawaiian homes, big acre. They were Makai and we were Mauka. So here was a challenge. I was naughty, so I was punished. You know, in those days, yeah, when you punish physically and verbally, and so what, right? You know, anyway. But it was a little bit harder. Sometimes I was left in a workroom in the garage with the lights off at night until I learned my lesson. This is when I realized I had a gift because a hooded black figure appeared at the foot of my bed with an axe a few times a month. I could never sleep on my back because I got the press on a daily basis. So, Mary, hello, stop lying on your back, turn on your side. So, lay on your opu, so I did. I always thought about death and dying because it hurt so much the way I was being treated. And I wanted to do something to myself, but I was scared. I was nervous. I didn't have a gun. I didn't want to take pills because I would choke. You know, so lolo, yeah? So that's why I'm still here. So I turned to food for comfort and slowly gained the weight. So here's my mom. I was like 8 years old. And this is Kavena, this is the picture. She's like, Molani, did you put an ugly picture of me? No. And that's my younger sister. So hello, look at Miss Beauty over here. I started gaining weight, yeah? And this is a nice one. I had a 2-piece bathing suit. I would not show that one because we have to keep Hawaii beautiful, right? So yeah, I started gaining weight because I would be so interested in the food, which made me feel good. Lehu lehu a mano mano ka ikena a ka Hawaii. Great and numerous is the knowledge of the Hawaiians. Our Hawaiian people were very, very brilliant people, but I wanted to put that because I was kind of smart there in elementary. So I went to St. Joseph's School in Waipahu. So did I. You did too. You had the nuns too. Some of them were nice, yeah. I received good grades, but this is what happened. You remember, we used to call it double I. You know how you caught the rope? OMG, I love to jump double I. But you know those kids, the boys, they would make a circle around me, and this is what they would sing. I feel the earth move under my feet. I feel the sky tumble. Every time I wanted to jump double I. So my sister knows I used to like to do cheerleading. Now, I was chubby, and you know, I had a uniform that had pleats. Mine never had pleats, yeah. That's so bad. Anyway, so I had a lisp, yeah. So I would be doing the cheers like, we got the sun in the morning and the moon at night with the lift. So imagine chubby everything. The Filipino, the boys, they would often call me this word, taba. So later on in life, when I was teaching in Kona, I asked one of my friends who spoke Filipino, I said, hey, can you tell me what the meaning of this word is? She goes, sure. I said, what is taba? She looked at me, she goes, why are you asking me that? I said, well, in St. Joseph's School, that's what the kids used to call me. She goes, oh my gosh. It means fat. Of course. Now, my mother only found clothes for me at Sears, yeah? We had to go to the Chabet side, the department, yeah? And I used to wear size 16 and a half because it had big armholes. Well, one day, and I went to St. Rita's Church, one day, I'm sitting in the pew and I had this beautiful, I thought was real pretty, this green dress, flowy. And auntie behind me, she taps me on the shoulder and she says, Bebe, you wear Chabet size 16 and a half? And I went, I said, yes, baby, your tag stays showing. So I think even the priest knew when he saw that too. So my sister was a big kokua for me. She lived next door and would always come to my aid. We played jack, swam at the beach, and many other things together. We also rode the school bus. So this is how comfortable I was. I was in kindergarten, and we got off the bus at St. Joseph's, and we're walking, and my sister says, Melanie, you feel comfortable, yeah? And I said, yeah. You feel warm? Yeah. You got your pajama bottoms on, take them off. Hello, we're in school. And she would always support me during rascal times. So there was this big wooden couch in my grandpa and grandma's house. And remember the 45s? I had, okay, good, plenty of people my age. So I had a little recorder, and we used to play 45s late at night and talk story. Well, I was really heavy, and I had gone to the bathroom, and I came back and I flew myself into the couch. Away, broke. You hear, pack. So I looked at Kevin and I went, oh my gosh, because the next day we had a paina. So we ran outside looking Grandpa's toolbox, and we found this nail. Pound the thing back together so it's pa'a, yeah? Well, the next day at the party, one of our good friends, very large woman, she threw herself in a couch. Away, broke the couch. So my grandfather starts yelling at her. My sister and I dig out the back door, cracking up, laughing, right? My mom goes, what are you laughing at? Oh, it's just a funny joke, Mom. So now Mommy knows, oh my gosh. Anyway, so my goal, one of my goals was to become a teacher. I would line up all my dolls, and I had a dog named Curly, and I would tell my dog to sit. And I would teach alphabet, numbers, and songs. And every time Curly would want to run away, I would say, sit, put thing. So I knew I wanted to become a teacher. My heroes, my dad is my hero. The first job he ever had was a rod man for surveyors, and he explained to me, so cute, he goes, I would hold a rod, then they would measure, then they would tell me, go over there, so I had to go over here and hold a rod. So that was kind of, So he worked his way up to become the first Hawaiian man who retired as a construction inspector supervisor for the city and county after 36 years. Daddy never went to college, but always studied for tests when he wanted a promotion. And I remember Daddy studying late at night with a lamp, and he always came in the top 3. Daddy also joined the Navy Seabees and worked his way up to becoming the senior chief and retired after 42 years. So like you, kai hukai, military, yeah? My mom is my hero. Her first job was as a waitress at a restaurant at 4th Street Mall. She became a secretary at Hawaiian Dredging, and she retired from the Hawaii State Tax Office as a delinquent tax collector in the Bureau after 26 years. My mom taught me how to dress appropriately for my size because I was always a big girl. She goes, Malani, don't wear anything snug. Make sure it's, kind of flowy. And she was so cute because she always said, you have a pretty face and you're just a late bloomer. But I said, what is that, late bloomer? And so my mom taught me to be strong. I'll tell you how. This is my mom and dad, many, many years ago. You folks are like 25, yeah? So my mom and dad's belief system, this is dad's favorite, the first one. You only get out of life what you put into it, and he firmly believed that. They also taught the 5 of us, never forget where you come from. And I told the students today, that's why Kumu is here, that's why Auntie is here today. I never forgot that I was raised in Nanakuli, and I will always kokua. Give people the benefit of the doubt and always help them in any way you can. The church that I attend in Waimea, there was a couple that just moved from Molokai. And I noticed that they would bring grandma in a wheelchair and grandpa in a wheelchair. And I looked at them and I said, wait, you told me you folks were coming to this island, just the 2 of you. They said, yeah, but we ended up having to bring grandma and grandpa. And only the wife works at Supercuts. So I looked at him and I said, brother, where do you work? He said, I don't. I got to take care of grandma and grandpa. I just moved back from Waimea. I had like 20-something bins in my garage. I couldn't even see the tile floor. I said, come, please come. I said, you go to the bins, you take what you need. They're like, what, Auntie? I said, you know what are you going to do? Collecting dust, yeah? So this is the kind of stuff my mom and dad taught us. You just give. Always do your best when you get employed. And this was mainly for my 2 brothers because they're so ko lohe. They would tell them, keep the papa name clean, please. Another hero was my tutu. Every April 20th, which was her birthday, we had to go up there to see her. And at one point she lived in Nu'uanu, and then she moved to Manoa. Every Christmas Eve, we took a nap at my grandma and grandpa's house in Nanakuli, and then we woke up, took a shower and everything. Because what would happen is, we had to go up to Tutu's house, visit with her, then we had to go back down to St. Rita's for midnight mass. Yeah? Oh, that was hard. So, with my tutu, I thought it was odd because there were a lot of entertainers at her house. What do you call? Sons of Hawaii would be playing music, all these unreal entertainers. But when she saw us come, she would kindly excuse herself and she would go and sit quietly in the living room on her rocking chair. And you know those days, children were meant to be seen and not heard, yeah? So we had to get our plates, sit down, and the older ones had to watch the younger ones or else we would get in trouble. She would come in and she would ask us about school and she would talk with us. And upon us leaving, her gift would be her latest publication. I loved her patience and her aloha. And so because of my tutu, I wanted to learn more about Hawaiian language and the culture. And incidentally, my dad spoke fluent Hawaiian. This is my tutu, Mary Kavena Pukui. So here's a picture of she and my dad. Yeah. And tutu is from Ka'u. So here's a relationship. You know my tutu Kili'ihue that I showed you earlier? My great-great-grandmother's mother and Tutu Kavena's grandmother were first cousins from Ka'u. You know that book, Native Planters of Hawaii? Dr. Handy and Tutu Kavena, according to Dad, went to interview my tutu Kili'ihue numerous times, and much of the knowledge in the book is from my tutu. So our names. My oldest brother, Likeke, got Daddy's Inoa Po. My sister Kavena got Kavena Ula Okalani Ahi'iake Kapoli Opele from Tutu Kavena. I got Tutu Kavena's sister's name, which is Kehamalani, which means prominent in the heavens. My younger sister got Ka'ula Mealani, which is heavenly rosy glow. Tutu Kili'ihue's other sister. She was one of 14. And then my brother Liloa got the name from a chief in Waipio. But if you notice, the names are all Pele names. Because Tutu Kavena used to tell us, we're from the Pele clan. Olalo No'eau, Kavaihona o Kana'awao, the repository of learning, said in admiration of a learned person. These are just a few of some of Tutu's publications, and I have it right here. The Hawaiian Dictionary, Olelo No'eau, Nanaike Kumu, 1 and 2, Tales of the Menehune Pikoi, Place Names of Hawaii, and many, many others. But what I loved about my Tutu is she never acted big time. She was so humble. Whenever we went to see her, she would just sit in her rocking chair. And I remember once we were talking about, okay, what are we going to get Tutu for her birthday or for Christmas? And we asked her, Tutu, what do you want? You know what she told us? Just get me a binder and folder paper so Tutu can continue writing. Cute, yeah. So we did. So a celebration. Kamehameha School, I applied and got accepted in the 9th grade. But you see, my mom, remember, she wanted me to be strong. She sent me to an obesity clinic at, yeah, mommy, at Kuakini Hospital because she didn't want me to go to Kamehameha. Chubby, size 16 and a half, yeah? She wanted me to lose weight. So I went to the obesity clinic and my sister Kavena would drive me there every Saturday. And one of the questions so I went to see a psychologist, a psychiatrist, and a dietitian. The first question a dietitian asked me was, so Malani, how many loaves of bread do you eat? I'm like, huh? Loaves? Because the children that she dealt with were very large children, 300 pounds, 200 pounds. I looked at her and I said, I eat 6 pieces of toast on Saturday when I watch cartoons, only 6. And she said, we have to get it down to 2. Another challenge was, many of my friends were models. They were Miss Waikiki, one became a Miss Hawaii. And so when we went to the school dances, nobody would ask me to dance. So what I would do is, give me your purses, and I would sit in a corner and watch their purses, and they'd be all dancing. Celebration, I started taking Hawaiian language. And another celebration was, I didn't realize, I really didn't understand who my tutu was until they would use her books, and I'd say, oh, is this the textbook? They're like, oh yeah, you know, Mary Kavena Pukui is very important. And I'm looking at them like, but I wouldn't say anything, yeah? Another celebration was I joined a club to teach Hawaiian culture in the public schools to 4th graders. And we went to many public schools to do that. So my goals, I wanted to learn the Hawaiian language and the culture, teach the students in the 4th grade. When I was a freshman, my homeroom teacher, she said, I want you to write 5 goals that you want to accomplish for the rest of your life. Well, I wrote down, because I never had a boyfriend. Nobody wanted to ask me to dance, take me out, nothing. So I wanted to meet a special man and get married. I wanted to have a baby, buy a home, buy a 4-wheel drive truck so I can cruise, yeah? You know what I mean? That was, I should have that number 1, actually. And then I wanted to get my master's degree. So 1977, I took this picture from the wall, mommy. Nice, yeah? Looks good, yeah? So I graduated from Kamehameha School. I know, and I was telling the students today, I know you guys weren't even born yet. And then one goes, oh, my mother was born in 1977. I said, Hamau. So my mother, she taught me about strength. I paddled for Kamehameha School, and I also paddled. My sister and I were, we were in the novice women's school for Kamo'i Canoe Club, and we were the number 3 and number 4. We were the powerhouse, making the whirlpools, everything. Well, we did a 9-mile Iron Woman race, yeah? So what happens is, you know how you gotta hold on to the canoe and you run in the water, you sit in the seat and you just start jamming, right? Mary over here got her toe stuck in the reef. So when I pulled my toe out, my whole toenail came off. So the whole 9-mile race, I was bleeding. Shane remembers, he was there today, yeah boy. The whole way, it bled and it bled. So what is number 5's job? Bail the bilge, bail the water. So I was hoping no sharks would follow us because there's so much blood coming out of the canoe. And the escort boat was nearby. So I was just kind of telling them, my toe. You know, so by the time we went back after the 9 miles, I was weak. I wanted to die. It was so sore. So we get back. Of course, we didn't come first place, right? I was sore. We get to the shoreline, and my brother, who was one of the coaches, and my cousin, they were waiting to carry me out. This is my mom. Oh, no, don't carry her out. I'm like, Mom, I'm ready to die. What you mean, no carry me out? She goes, no, she has to take a few steps because she finished the 9-mile race. I'm like, Ma, oh please, I don't care. She said, no. So I got out of the canoe and I was like this. And I was like fainting, you know, in my brother's arms. So I said, Ma, is that okay? She goes, no, you can help, they can help you. But you see what my mom was trying to do was to make me strong. To show me that no matter what you do, you gotta be strong. And she taught me a really good lesson. So more education, I went to Leeward College. I got my associate in arts. I went to UH Hilo, I got my BA in Hawaiian Studies. But see, we worked with the Board of Regents because we didn't want our diploma to say Hawaiian Studies. We wanted something with Hawaiian language. So we worked with them. I became the president of the Hawaiian Club and we met with them and everything. So our celebration was, our class was the first to graduate with a Hawaiian Studies degree with an emphasis in Hawaiian language. We never cared, that was good enough for us. And Auntie Pua Kanahele, Kanakaole Kanahele, she graduated with us. She was given the BA. So I don't know if you folks know Kawanoi Kamana and Pila Wilson. They wrote Nakai Evalu. Huh? So we were like the babies. We were using Nakai Evalu when it was just run off, punch hole, and put, or stapled. That's how we learned. It wasn't even bound or anything. So the working world. I started working at Haile Christian School in Hilo, and then Henry Opuka Ha'ia, which is now Navahio Kalani'opu'u today. I became a Hawaiian Studies District Resource Teacher before I taught in the public school. You know how shame that was? Molani, you have a meeting at Holualoa School. I go to the gas station, brother, where Holualoa? I had no idea where the schools were. And then I started working on my master's degree. I wanted to also add, one of the main reasons why I got these degrees wasn't for me. I wanted to be a role model for my students, a role model for the kids anywhere, Wai'anae anywhere, to show them that Auntie never had money. I wasn't that smart. I really struggled, but I did it, you can do it. Well, I met the man of my dreams because I wanted to be a pa'u rider. So my friend introduced me to this Richard Diaguerre so he could teach me how to ride. So we made a time where we could meet. So I hear the truck coming. I'm all like brushing my hair, everything, yeah? I look out the window. His father is hanging on the back of the truck and his mother is sitting right next to him. I'm going, what in the world? So I go out, I'm like, oh, hi. They're like, come, go teach you how to ride a horse. I'm thinking, I thought it was just me and him, not the parents. Oh, I come home. I called my mom. I go, Mom, the mom and dad came too. She goes, oh, cute, yeah? Cute. Not cute. I was like, oh, please. Okay. Second time, the following Saturday, he goes, oh, you want to go again? I'm like, oh, yeah. Now, the father was an old Portuguese man. We're talking about Portuguese before, yeah, Auntie? I was chubby, yeah? So he goes like this, what, you can get on the horse? The answer is no. So he goes, hey. He gets a milk crate. You know the old-fashioned kind made of steel, yeah? He put it on the ground next to the fence. He goes, here, climb. So I got on a crate and I climbed up and then I could get on the horse. He goes, good thing we get the crate in the truck. I'm like, oh my God. In front of his son. So we made a date again the following weekend. So I'm thinking, okay, today just gonna be me and Richard. No, there's the father hanging onto the cattle truck. There's the mother. I'm going, okay, I know can already. I know can. So I come home, I call my mom. Mom, they did it again. She goes, really? Like, oh my goodness. So eventually, after about a month, because we were old, I was 32. I had just asked my friends to help me build my convent. I just couldn't already. And he had just told his friends he was going to be a confirmed bachelor. I was 32, he was 41. We were old. So, Elena Wawi ko aloha, I will wear your love as a beautiful adornment. That's how I felt about my husband. Look how handsome. And I wrote a letter to God because my friend said, you know what, Mary, I wrote a letter to God and you got to include everything. So you know me, my first one, green eyes, kalakaua beard, mustache, compassionate, 6'2", can carry me, loving. And and I got my husband. We had 12 years together. Richard was well respected by his family, my family, the community. He was very humble and very akamai. My dad was teaching the labor union, yeah? He taught labor classes. And one of the first things my dad would say after introducing himself was, oh, my son-in-law is Richard DeGuerre, you know. And he said all the men were like, oh, Richard, good worker, you know. So he was a great heavy equipment operator, good rancher. They had horses and cattle and a pig farm, chickens. He helped everyone. And the way you see him smiling, he was always like that. Even making the slop, he was always smiling. He could fix anything. He always came up with a solution, and he was an excellent husband and father. So he asked for my parents for my hand in marriage, and they were like, finally, get her on that. And then we were watching TV one night. It was so funny, yeah? So we're watching TV, and he leans over, he goes like this. By the way, you like get married? I'm like, wait. Where's the ring? He goes, I want you to choose it. Smart. I said, how come you're not getting down on one knee? Or the horse went through me, so my knee. All right. So I told him, I gotta finish writing my thesis because I'm getting my master's. He goes, what's that? I said, it's a paper that I need to complete in order to get my master's degree. He goes, but does that mean yes? I said, yes, but we have to have a long engagement because I gotta graduate first. So after we got married, we tried, even in vitro, and I couldn't have a baby. So we adopted a baby girl. Her mother was 14 when she got pregnant, and she gave birth when she was 15. And when we went, so this is another, I always wanted to name my child very Hawaiian. That whatever happens on that day, you name the baby, yeah? Well, that morning we got a phone call because we were kind of close to the family. And we went to all the birthing classes with the mother and everything. So the mother calls and she says, baby's coming. Oh no. The day before, my husband said, honey, we gotta take 2 cows to the slaughterhouse. So we're gonna put them in the driveway. So all night, you know what you hear, yeah? Right? So we hardly slept. And so here I'm calling my brother-in-law and my sister-in-law. You guys gotta come with us. Baby's being born. We gotta go hilo. So we go. We get to the slaughterhouse. My husband was very meticulous. He grabs the paper because you gotta weigh the cattle. I'm like, give me the paper. And I fly it to my brother-in-law. I'm like, baby's being born. We gotta go. So we rip it over to hilo. That was in Pa'awilo. We get there. Baby's born. Baby was already born. So we walk into the hospital room, and her biological mom, she looks at me and I said, what's her name? She says, I want you to name her. So I looked at my husband, I said, okay. I went into the waiting room, and that's when I remembered my dad telling me that I got the gift for naming children. So I went into the waiting room and I was praying that nobody was there, and nobody was there. And for some reason, they had taken down all the artwork from the walls. It was really empty. So I sat there and I started to pule. And I opened my eyes. In Vegas, they have those huge neon letters? There on the wall was the name Anela. I kid you not. And I said, O mahalo ke akua. So then I'm like, okay, what about the Hawaiian name? I'll give her my name, Kehamalani. So her name would mean angel who is prominent in the heavens. She was our pride and joy. And here she is. She had my husband wrapped around her finger, big time. So here she is feeding a little piglet. She loved animals very much. This is one of my mom's favorite favorite pictures. Well, my husband gets diagnosed with melanoma. He had a year treatment, he went into remission. It returned 4 years later as pancreatitis. And a year and a half later, he passes away. He goes on to be with the Lord. My question to God was, where's the silver lining in all of this? I don't see it. The night he passed away, my brother-in-law, I asked him just to stay with him one night in the hospital because I was really tired. My mom had flown in to help me with my daughter. So he calls me and he says, you better get up here right away. Richard's not doing well. By the time we got there, Richard had passed away. So I walked into the room and he's laying on the bed and it looked like he's sleeping, yeah? So I looked at him, then I looked up at the ceiling because there in the corner was my husband looking like the way he did when we got married. Because he had gotten really VV from cancer. So he lost about 60 to 80 pounds. There he was with his mom and his dad on either side of him. And he was smiling. So I knew that's what kept me going, yeah? So, Olelo no eau, e kua hui like I kahana. Let everybody pitch in and work together. My mom and dad, Kavena, my entire family all loved him. They all flew to Hawaii Island. My mom and dad lived with us for a month and a half to help me. I was a wreck. Where else was I going to find a man who can lift me, had kalakaua beard, mustache, all of that, green eyes, everything? So the awesome thing is when my husband died at 11:26 p.m. on a Sunday night. The next morning, somebody knocked at my door. This is real country style. People came to our house for 2 months, every day to bring food and drink for my daughter and I, every day. One day I came home, my mom and dad were in the house. I drive in my driveway, there's this 20 by 20 tent with tables and chairs. And you know the old fashioned way you got the light bulb and you string it up, yeah? So I walk in the house and I go, Mom, who did that? She goes, did what? I said, there's a tent in the driveway. She had no clue. So later on that evening, these two guys come who were Richard's, worked with him. And they knocked on the door and they said, Sister, come, we got poke, we got beer. Take that off of that, don't say beer. They had soda. And so we sat down and had soda and poke. And I said, what is this? And they said, you know what? Your husband was so well liked and loved. People would come, you watch. And that's exactly what happened. So my friends took my daughter to hula and soccer practice because I couldn't. QLCC, the Queen Elite Wakalani Children's Center, I took a 2-year leave from the Department of Education to spend time with my daughter. She was only 6 years old. So I registered her and I got grief counseling for the both of us. I asked the school counselor to help her and me. QLCC is still helping us to this day. They are a wonderful institution. So as I told you earlier, I could see different things. I saw Richard and his parents. Richard visited me every month for about 2 years. But by the 4th month, I was a little bit irritated, yeah? I said, why are you visiting me? He said, Mom, I came to check upon you. So he would appear from here up, yeah? I said, you know what? I gotta take care of baby. I gotta do the finances. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. I go, you're not even around. That's the one and only time he appeared from head to toe. I'm like, ooh. I sat down and went, am I in trouble? And this is what he told me. He said, Mom, I told you God needed my help on the other side. I said, what do you do? This is what he told me. He said he needed somebody to teach the children how to ride the horses. I said, there's horses? He said, yes. And there's cats and dogs and other animals. I said, wow, that's really cool. And so that's how I know. So got animals on the other side. I saw a psychiatrist for many years to deal with all of this, and also for the hurt and pain that I got when I was a child. So this one Hawaiian psychiatrist, she's a dear friend of mine. She told me, you know what? You go write all the hurt and pain you had when you were a little girl, and then I want you to talk to this girl. because the child in you is hurting. You talk to little Malani and you tell her, one day she's going to be loved. She did nothing wrong. One day she's going to meet a man who's going to love her. And you're going to have a little daughter, and all the children that you've taught love you. So I did. I went to talk to our family kahu who lives on this island. And he said, Malani, you need to go take flowers to auntie and you need to forgive her. I said, I ain't going. He goes, Malani, you have a spiritual gift. You need to do this. I said, okay. He goes, plus, you told me she has dementia. She probably don't even remember what she did to you. Hello. So I went, I took my auntie flowers, and my cousin was taking care of her. And the whole time I sat next to her, she was rubbing my arm. She knew who I was. And she was telling me, thank you for coming to see me. After I visit, I got in a car with my daughter because my daughter didn't want to go. She didn't want to meet the woman who hurt me. I said, get in a car, daddy's gone, you're not, you're going with mommy. So she went in a car with me and she said, Mommy, I don't want to meet her. I said, well, you're going to have to. Upon leaving, I'm backing out of the driveway. This is what I hear. You need to continue coming to see your aunt. She needs to heal. You need to help her make the transition from this world to the next. So since that day, she's in her 90s, and my mom's older sister, I've gone to see her 4 times. Olelo no eau. O ka mea ua hala ia. What is gone is gone. There's no use in recalling hurts from the past. Celebrations, blessings. My daughter Anela became the May Day Queen at Konawaina Elementary. Guess who helped to pay for her holoku? QLCC. We went to the dentist one day and the receptionist says, you know what? Why don't you have Anela enter pageants? I am not a pageant mother. I said, I don't know about that. She was, go check it out. We went, QLCC helped us. She was crowned the Young Miss Kona Coffee. And this is what my daughter told me. Mommy, do you remember what you told me when you brought my flowers to me? I said, congratulations. She said, what else did you say? I don't know. She said, Mommy, you told me to be ha'a. You be humble. I said, I did. She said, yes. So what happened was, what I wanted my daughter to realize was it's not about the crown, it's not about your banner. You know the Young Miss Kona Coffee. How do you give back to your community? What do you do? So we had a long talk. She chose to read to all the preschools, and we started with her preschool, the Kamehameha preschool, and others in our community in Kona. So what we did was she chose books, she read to the children, she let them touch her crown, of course, and we donated books. So that's when, see, at our church, we always taught her to give back to help other people. She became a guest speaker for the QLCC Summer Youth Program and how to overcome obstacles. She was accepted to Hawaii Preparatory Academy. I almost had a heart attack. That is the most expensive school in the state. Yeah? How am I going to pay that? Well, not too long after that, I got a phone call from a friend of mine who worked for Human Resources at HPA. So it's good, yeah, when you have a network of people that you know. She said, Malani, there's a Hawaiian language position open. You need to come and apply. I didn't want to because I was working at Kamehameha. I didn't want to go. She said, just come. How else you going to pay for the tuition? I went, I don't know. She goes, apply. Okay, so I applied. A week after I got the position, I received another phone call. May I speak to Malani? Speaking. Hi, I'm the residential dean. Would you like to be a dorm mother? What does that mean? He knew he was talking to a Hawaiian lady, yeah? You get free housing and free food. Hire me. So all of a sudden, my daughter has free tuition. We have free housing and free food. God had sent a path for us. I still didn't want to go. I called my mom and dad. I said, I have a dilemma. I don't know what to do. My dad answers the phone. He goes, oh, what's the matter? I said, you know, Daddy, I don't want to go to HPA. Anela got in, and I told him everything. I got the teaching position, dorm parent. I get free food, free housing. He goes, pack your bags. Here's your mother. So my mother comes on the phone, and she goes, what's wrong, Malani? I said, Mommy, I don't know what to do. So I tell her the whole thing. She goes, you heard your father, pack your bags. my dad came back on the phone. He's so cute. He goes, you know what, Malani? No, my mom told me, it's not about you. If that's where my mo'opuna wants to go to school, she will go to HPA. Then my dad comes back on the phone. He goes, plus, none of my mo'opuna got into Iolani. HPA, same colors as Iolani. Let her go. Let her go to HPA. So at HPA, from freshman year to senior year, college reps from around the nation come to our school. And so the kids get to listen. They're so lucky. My daughter got into Point Loma Nazarene University in San Diego, where she's a freshman. But this was a reach for her. And this is another thing I wanted to, just like how you were doing, Kaihukai. It's not about only your grades. You gotta give back to the community. They need to see that you're well-rounded. You gotta do work, you have to give back. You have to do volunteer work. My daughter, well, she didn't have a choice. I was a Hawaiian language teacher. She was president of the Hawaiian Club, all of those things. She was the head of the halal that I started. So I told her, all of these things have a lot to do with all of your applications. We did numerous activities in Waimea, in the community. We gave back, we went to clean senior citizens' homes. We did all kinds of stuff. We would open up for the ukulele and the Slaki festival with Oli. It was really awesome. So then, baby graduated. I wanted somebody else to have a chance to be at HPA, to have free tuition, free housing, and free food. So I applied for a position back at Kamehameha School, and that's where I got to meet Christy Sato. And I became what I now am, which is an education manager in West Hawaii. When I got hired, I became a pa'u rider, you guys. Okay, now look at the horse, yeah? Look at the rider, not the horse. Hello. Look. This was me just last June. Before I started working, my boss called me. She goes, Malani, we need help because I can make leis, yeah? She goes, you can make leis, yeah? I went, oh yeah. You know how to make horse leis? No. You can help us pick. Yeah, yeah. So as we started continuing with the meeting, she said they needed one more person. She said, would you like to ride? Yes, I would. Immediately. So that was us. But I gotta tell you a real fast story. I don't know how to ride horse. This is not the horse I practiced on. Okay? So when the guy who did it, he did our fate, we had to get up 3 o'clock in the morning. I was so tired. Makeup, everything. We got on the horse, and you gotta use the kukui nuts, yeah? Oh, so, cause just to get kele, yeah? So I'm sitting on the horse. The horse is going like this. I am not riding down Ali'i Drive with the horse doing that. So I told the princess's father, I said, Kimo, can you help me? He goes, can't fun it, the bit too big for this horse. No idea. I guess the stuff in the mouth. So he got his toolkit, he tied, so now the horse could just go. I was happy. Then the horse I could tell was jittery because I was ha'alulu. So here come the marshals. Thank God, the 2 head marshals, the husband and wife, they sing at my church with me. We sing for the Hawaiian ministry. I'm like, Kimo, come. He goes, Auntie, you look so pretty. I went, I scared. He goes, why? I was so mad. He said, you cannot look scared. He goes, you gotta look pretty. I went, I'm scared, Kimo. This is not the horse I practice with. Oh, one whistle. Whoosh, all the marshals came. He goes, Auntie is scared. You guys ride with Auntie next to her the whole way. Because they have an area of jurisdiction, yeah, that they have to take care of. The whole way I had a marshal next to me. I was so cute because the young boys. Okay, Auntie smile, Auntie, okay. Auntie, lift your head up. Yeah, nod, Auntie, nod. The second boy, Auntie, relax, Auntie, relax. Chillax, Auntie, come on, you can. So then I started seeing friends on Ali'i Drive and I would smile. He goes, you get him, Auntie, you get him. And I would say, good morning, aloha. He goes, Auntie, you need to ride by me already. So that was me. And then, so this is my baby. This is my daughter. This was graduation day last year in May. And this is Anela Kehamalani, who we adopted. She's now at Point Loma. She gets a care package every payday, and I put money in her account every payday. She had the hardest time But you know what? I told her, baby, you are not gonna come home to stay until the end of the year. Then we assess the situation. You come home for Christmas, you go back. I got the return ticket already. I said, I do not want you to come home without trying an entire year. You have to stay the entire year. So first 2 months, she called me, she cried, and my heart is dying. My baby is crying. She wants to come home, but the educator in me, the Hawaiian in me who wants these Hawaiian children to do better, to be successful, said, I was my mother. Oh, Anela, you just be strong. You're gonna be fine, Anela. You're gonna be fine. She came home for Christmas, she had a blast. She went back, this is what? February. She called me a couple of weeks ago. Mommy, I want to complete the rest of my 4 years here. She's going into child psychology. When she told me that, I said, was it that bad growing up with me? Sorry, baby, sorry. She goes, no, Mommy. She said, the things that I went through and that I learned, losing my daddy, going through all the things with QLCC, I want to help other students. I want to help other children. Good girl, yeah? Who's her model, yeah? So my beliefs, there's a reason for everything that happens. There's a silver lining behind every cloud. Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you, says the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not harm you. Plans to give you hope in the future. My new life, I'm an education manager for Kamehameha schools in West Hawaii. I sing for the hula ministry in our church. And I also we have an opening with the Hawaiian Bible. I also help with that. Like, I don't have enough to do. I joined the halau. Hello, Mary. So I'm now part of a halau. I want to thank you, first of all, to Christy Sato for giving me this opportunity to speak to our community. May your challenges present life's lessons for all of you. May you see a silver lining in every challenge. Make goals. Strive to accomplish them. Kulia ika nu'u. Find a hero. And right now, we're going to sing for you. And then, Nana Kuli, of course, my sister was like, Melanie, running out of time, we only can do one song, yeah? We're going to sing Nana Kuli, and this song, Proud, is a song that our great-grand-aunt wrote. Yeah, Mom? Our great-grand-aunt, she wrote Proud. Okay, anyway, my great-grand-aunt, yeah? She wrote this song. And we're going to do that. But God bless all of you, return you home safely. So we're going to do a song. So this is a song called Proud. It's a family song of ours. So don't mind if we get the words mixed up, okay? Proud when I see you walking. Proud when I see you walking. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. Proud when I see you dancing. Each little step entrancing. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. I have found a gold ring for your finger. Wedding bells will ring, so please don't linger. Proud of the clothes and the way you wear them. Proud of the way you care them. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. I have bought a gold ring for your finger. Wedding bells will ring, so please don't linger. Proud of the clothes and the way you wear them. Proud of the way you care them. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. Because they went college. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. Because they got their master's degree last time. I'm mighty proud of a baby like you. Because they're Hawaiian. Ayo. Thanks, Tika. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you. You want to say something, Mommy? You want to say something? You oh, do we have time for one more? Mommy wants to sing now. Okay. Please join in. If also Nana Kuli, yeah? Yeah?
Sing it.
Yeah. O kaleo, o kamanu, e hoimai e pili. O kaleo, o kaleo, o kamanu, e hoimai e pili. E kio kaina I ka ponoa o nana kuli ea. E hoi mai e pili. E kio kaina I ka ponoa o nana kuli ea. E hoi mai e pili. E hoi mai e pili. O kaleo. O kaleo. O kaleo. O kamanu. O kamanu. E hoi mai e pili. O kaleo. O kaleo. O kamanu. E hoi mai e pili. Last time. Keiki o kaina I ka ponoa o nana kuli ea. E hoi mai e pili. Keiki o kaina I ka ponoa o nana kuli ea. E hoi mai e pili. E hoi mai e pili. Love all of you. Mahalo.
I did know that song.